Hello, my name's Steve Quern. I'm creating a new campaign adventure for myself using the Dungeons & Dragons, what I refer to as the 1980s version of Dungeons & Dragons Red Book rules. The reason I refer to this as the 1980s is because in June of 1980 I went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I missed Gen Con by 1 to 3 days, and this is the publication that my grandmother bought for me and my brother, and it was dated and it was copyright 1980. This particular one is copyright 1981. The original copy was stolen back in 1995, and since I acquired this sometime later. And then the box set that came out in 1983 and 83, 84, 85, 86, Basic in 83, Expert in 84, Masters in 85, and Immortals. No, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. Basic, Expert, Companion, Masters, and Immortal. The box sets, which is known as the box set, or Beckney. Actually, this was a box set also back in 1980, but when I bought the grandma bought me and my brother that in 1980, and then in 81, then we Mom was going to game master us, but never did. In 1982, and when she did, she cut out the game master section. Basically, this section, and she took it, and then we had to get a braid from a braided folder and reattach it in here, and that got stolen. And then in 82, my brother and I started RPGing each other with this. And then in 83, some of my brother's friends were doing AD&D, and they introduced us to Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And then between 83 and 86, I acquired this. Well, I acquired one version. My brother acquired another version. And maybe this is back in 82. Sometimes between 82 and 83, maybe. My version got stolen. This is my brother's, actually. When the basic rules got stolen, my version of the expert rules got stolen too, along with it. And so this is basically my brother's book. He doesn't do it Dungeons & Dragons anymore, so he gave this to me. So this campaign I'm going to be doing is going to be based on these two books. The main rules change that I made is that the character level maxes out at level 9, name level, which is level 9. Thus, anything above here does not apply. Characters can advance above level 9. And I gave the halflings and one other level marshal for level 9. Sheriff would be for a town. Marshal would be for multiple cities. Type. No, he oversees multiple cities. So that's the only difference on rules change I made with these two. So what I've done so far, okay. So what I've done so far is, just keep it in there because it's easier. I made a list of monsters based on hit dice. I did this back in 1984 and 85 when I created the Querinworld Campaign for this game system, and the advanced and an Ancient Earth campaign for the AD&D version of the hardbook rules. So I went back in 84 and 85. I went through these two books and listed all the monster levels from under 1 to level 36 that existed within these two modules, within these two rule books. I also went and listed all these monsters based on by alignment. I created a chart based on alignment. I have another, and then so I did that. So I basically repeated that process, but with -1 hit dice for basic rules, -1 for expert rules. Level 1 hit dice for basic, 1 hit dice for expert, 1 plus hit dice for basic, 1 plus for expert. And then from there I created I went and looked at the first non-human monster that was at under level 1. Was a normal bat. So I looked at the description of a normal bat, and it says bats are nocturnal. They often live in caves and abandoned buildings. So the natural environments of normal bats, or bats, whether they're normal or giant, are nocturnal, nighttime, caves, and abandoned buildings. Now it says in here for giant bats, a percentage can be vampire bats, and the undead. When you get bit by, if you die from a vampire bat, you become an undead, and that could be an expert ruse. That ruse could be applied to maybe a vampire. So there are, so basic rules and expert rules within this game world are going to be in the same monster lists and same wilderness environments. So what I did here is I made a list of nocturnal monsters. I went through basic rules and expert rules looking for nocturnal monsters. And this is the list I came up with. Then from there, and then from there I went and made a monster list, and which is White Ape, and they went through the descriptions of basic rules and the expert rules for all the monsters here. And then I went from there, I made a list of additional monsters based on the monster list descriptions, and then I made I created, after I did this list, I created the Orc Army list for chaotic leaders, and I based that on the Orc group, and then on the Orc tribe. Then from there, I created an additional monster, and then I expanded it just started getting chaotic on the monster description, onto monster lists. So I went and I just decided, okay, I'm going to categorize monsters by type. For microbial. What I term as microbial would be the single cell or comparable to single cell life forms like yellow gelatinous cubes. This is not a good site because I slip and slide all the time. Okay, gelatinous cube, gray ooze, green slime, orchid jelly, shriekers, yellow molds, and black puddings. Those are the microbial. Then in the basic and expert. And all these monsters are based on these two publications. So then I went and did the worm and crawler monsters, carrion crawlers, giant centipedes, cecidias. I did a leech, but I'm scratching that out. And then purple worm. And then I went and did this insect monsters. I said insectoids because you got arachnids and stuff like. You got the beetles, the spiders, and you got the scorpions. There it is, giant scorpion. Okay, and there are various different creatures there. Then I went to wing. This is not. I did not make this in. This is not the order in which I made the monster lists. This is how I just. This is an organized. This is how I organized it after I made all the monster lists. But so you got the wing monsters, which is your bats, your dragons, your sturges, griffin chimeras, cocktails, griffins, pegasus, hawks, hippogriffs, pterodactyls, rocks, and wyvern. You got the land reptile monsters. You got your lizards, your snakes, the basilisk, hydra, frost salamander. The elemental, the fire salamander is an elemental, so that's in a different category. Your dinosaurs. And then you have your land mammal monsters, which is like the white ape, the bears, the great cats, giant ferrets, mules, owlbears, normal rats, rock baboons, rust monsters, giant shrews, wolves, antelope, blink dogs, camels, elephants, and let's see here, horses, and rhinoceroses. And then there is, I have freshwater monsters, which is the giant, where the giant leech is part of. You've got your crabs, your crocodiles, your fish, and you got termites, giant termites. Okay. Then you have your saltwater monsters, sea snakes, giant crabs. You got some fish. You got a sea hydra. You got octopus. You got a sea dragon, sea serpent, sharks, whales. There's a termite and a squid. And then I have the humanoid monsters, which don't include the undead monsters, okay, and don't include the magical monsters. Magical monsters has their own category. Undead monsters have their own category. Humanoid monsters, so you got your bugbears, your doppelgangers, dwarves, elves, gnomes, goblins, halflings, harpies, hobgoblins, your lizard men, your medusas, minotaur, Neanderthal. NPC parties listed. NPC parties listed on the humanoids, humans, and yeah, are listed multiple times. And they're the only monsters listed because for humanoids, your NPC part could include elves, dwarves, and halflings. And the human monster list, your NPC would consist of your clerics, your fighters, magic users, and thieves classes. So the NPC parties listed twice. And then you have the basic level NPC party, Yeah, basic rules NPC party, and you have your expert rules NPC party on top of that. So the humanoids are the, centaurs, your dryads, your manticores, mermen, your trolls, humanoid-like monsters. Then you have then all the humans that are listed in the monster list. So you like your acolytes and your bandits and berserkers. You got your lycanthropes. You got the magic user, mediums. Normal humans. Then you have the men, like your dervish men. Correction, I was saying devil swine here is a lycanthrope. But you got your brigands, buccaneers, pirates, dervish, merchants, and nomads, and then PC and NPC for the basic and expert. Then you have the undead monsters. Then you have the magical monsters. The magical monsters come into two categories. The undead could be classified as a magical monster, but for the purpose of this monster categorization, undead is a specific kind, is a subset of magical monster, would be a subset. But so I just have them listed. So you got your ghouls, skeletons, wights, zombies, mummies, specters, vampires, and wraiths. They're dead. They're basically dealing with dead humanoids who are walking about. Magical, so that could be considered as magic, but within this categorization, what I did is for magic is these creatures are elemental. Most of these are elementals, like fire elemental, air elemental, earth elemental, the fire salamander, the flame salamander is an elemental, so they're native to the elemental planes. Then you have creatures that are created with magic spells, like your living statues and your golems, would also be considered magical. And then creatures that are summoned from elsewhere, whether they be elemental planes or out, which would include lesser genies and ifritis, the invisible stalker, elementals. You can have conjured elementals also. You got a staff, device, and conjured on each of the elementals listed here. So those are all the categories, and all the monsters have. So all the monsters have been listed on this monster list, and I need these lists as a game master for the D&D and A basic and expert rules. Okay, so now my next agenda is I am going to make a monster list my next agenda is to make a new monster list. Let's see here. On the 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide in again. Okay. Dungeons and Dragons RPG. Red Book Rules. Copyright 1980. Now I do make an distinction between the 1980 and the Beckman rules because I have both set. I have this and I also have the Beckman set. So that's, and I refer to this as 1980 because of I missed Gen Con by a few months. And okay, environmental system, yeah. Yes. I did a typo. So I'm correcting that. Environmental system. And this is going to be based on the normal bat. So, let's see here. Can you see what's going on? Okay. Yeah, you can see what's going on. Okay. For the normal bat, okay, let's do the normal bat is armor class 6. HD 0, HP 1, Nine feet by 3 feet, fly. On 20 feet by 40 feet. They're generally divided by 3. Number here divided by 3 is the second. The second one is usually attacks. confusion, damage, oh, we did the ends. New. Okay, number appearing. One to 100. Save as. Normal man is typically listed as HD0 or level 0. No, yeah, on the combat charts, this says level 0, so which would be equivalent to HD0. Morale 6. Treasure, nil. Alignment, neutral. Okay, so alignment is important in Dungeons and Dragons because it dictates, now, does not dictate, but it is a guideline for how your character is going to behave in the game. Now, within this system, it says lawful is generally viewed as being lawful. Okay. Generally, it says lawful is good, chaotic is evil, and neutral can be good and or evil, or neither. And or, yeah. So, but it's a guideline for how your character behaves. A lawful person is going to try to obey laws or behave in a good way. You can have a lawful, with AD&D, you can have a lawful player that is not good. He uses law to as a way of doing doing evil acts unto others. So you can interpret that in this game too that way, but the focus is not, the game does not focus on are you being good to other people or are you being bad to other people. AD&D focuses on, okay, if you're a lawful good person, you're going to obey laws and try to be good to other people. If there's a law that forces you to be bad, and you say this is not good behavior, then he's like, okay, there you have a dilemma there. I've had I've been in play groups where a player who was not an assassin was wanting to be of one alignment, but pretend to be of a different alignment. Within D&D, the basic rules, and within advanced D&D, alignments have their own language. So if you're a lawful good person, you are able to speak in a lawful good alignment. You are not able to speak a lawful neutral alignment. You're not able to speak in lawful evil alignment. You're not able to speak in a neutral good alignment or a chaotic good alignment. You'll not be able to do that. But an assassin can. And the assassin, I believe, can learn multiple alignments as they level up. I don't know what the progression level is for that. I haven't looked at it in a long time. I haven't really played with Dungeons and Dragons or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons for many decades. So, okay, I'm going to take a break here because Turtle is needing some food, and I will continue this later.